And good afternoon, or good morning, or good evening, wherever you may be around the world. I am Marcus Holmes, coming to you on another installment of Passion Fridays, the HR Passion Guy. And I hope that you will click share right now and tag someone, invite someone to join in this session. Drop in the comments wherever you are. I am on the northwest side of Detroit where the temperature is in the 30s. I'm hoping that you're sending warm weather from wherever you are, but drop in the comments wherever you are. I see that Darlene Randall has joined us on Facebook. We are also live on LinkedIn Live. We're live on YouTube events, and we're live on Twitch TV, all through Restream. So in addition to the Marcus R. Holmes page on Facebook and Love and Stuff. So drop in the comments wherever you are. See Bilal Muhammad to stop through. Kwan Cheek. I can never pronounce the middle name. I apologize. Mrs. Jones. That's what I'm going to say. Thank you for joining. I hope that you will click, share, and tag someone to join us in this Passion Friday installment where from Passion, HR Passion LLC, we talk a little bit about things we're passionate about, things that people are passionate about, passionate people, and the intersection of passionate people and their passions. And so any of those topics you may find here on a Friday installment. And so today, of course, we have seen a great inauguration of peaceful transfer of power, thankfully. And we have a new president and vice president, and congratulations to them. So they have new jobs, right? Of course, they campaigned for their jobs, and you and I, yes, you and I, voted for them to become the next president and vice president. And so congratulations to President Biden and Vice President Harris. But it's a job, right? It is a position of great importance and power, right? Hopefully it will restore some credence and some I'm struggling for the word I want to use that would be a good filter, but hopefully it will restore some presence as a world power to the world. I think that we could stand to gain better brand presence as an organization, as a country. And so they have a new job. And I'm wondering, are you looking for a new job? Because we started this conversation and people have been in the inbox, which I expect and I relish it. I welcome it, particularly on LinkedIn, because I am an HR professional. People are often asking me, is your company hiring? Do you know anybody that's hiring? And so I love that. Keep that coming. But I thought because it's an important topic, dignity. Thank you, R.M. Moody. Thank you so much. And click share and tag someone. That is our actress in residence here in the Love and Stuff community, which is an affiliate of the HR Passion LLC. And you should always check us out at HR Passion LLC if you're looking for a position or you're looking for consultation, you're a small business owner, a CEO, and you want an outside HR lens on strategic focus. Learn more about us at HR Passion LLC. And so they have jobs. Now they campaign for theirs and they have experience to some degree for theirs, right? And we could have some conversation about that. But a lot of job seekers are out here. And so I began, as you may recall, in December talking about this thought of 30, 60, 90. I am working on a small binder that you can have as a journal if you so wish for a nominal fee to write down and journal your journey to your next position, career, job, right? But we talked about this 30, 60, 90 premise. And I shared at that time that it's my belief as an HR professional and talking to other HR colleagues, of course, affiliated with the Society of Human Resources Management, with the Human Resources Certification Institute, the Hacking HR, all HR organizations, talking with colleagues, most positions are, I'm going to say less than 10% of positions, I'll start there, are companies that are ready to hire in less than 30 days. Now, many companies would argue, yes, they are. But when you get into their process and you get into their recruitment funnel, it's longer than 30 days from the time they open a job posting to the time they make an offer. Okay, so that's the time frame I'm talking about. And it's less than 10% of employers are there in 30 days. Okay, probably closer to 41% of employers are there in 60 days, which means from the time you see a job posting, they will be making a job offer to you. About 41%. Then the balance, which is almost 50%, right, is up to 90 days. Now, there are outliers that are longer than 90, and there are certainly companies that are hiring in less than 15 days. Not the norm in either. That's why I'm calling them outliers. But there's a large contingent of employers that, though they say we're hiring right now and immediately, it's going to take you 90 days to get through that recruitment funnel from the time you submit your application to the time they make an offer to you for that position. Okay. So then if you know that, then you ought to have a plan. You ought to have a plan for that 30, 60, 90 days. And I'm going to just strongly encourage you toward the 60 day to plan for that, because it may take that kind of time for you to get there. Thank you, Latricia Turner, Michelle Ballard, Marilyn Hamilton. Thank all of you for joining. I hope you will click share. Since I thought I would capitalize on the thought that since they have new jobs, the president and vice president, right, that people that are looking for new jobs in the beginning of the year might start to craft their journeys. And we talked starting December 30, 60, 90. Now, some of the information I'm sharing will be coming up. We're going to have modules of training on this that you can participate in. So I'm going to be giving kind of a higher level view because I want you to, of course, participate in the modules. But I wanted to share some information because some of you are still inboxing and asking for additional information, and that's great. I want you to find the job of your dreams, right? And so I'm going to share my screen in a moment because I want you to have some information. And if you inbox me at any of those platforms I mentioned earlier, I will share this Word document with you. And again, I've got a journal coming up, so you'll be able to use that journal as well. But I want to talk to you a little bit just for a moment at the start of this journey, if you're at the beginning of your journey or your journey seems like it's never ending. I want to talk to you a little bit about intentions. Goal intentions, simple intentions, but mostly implementation intentions is what I want to talk to you, because people often fail to act on good intentions, right? We have the best of intentions. We have great intentions to eat more healthily, to be more physically active, to declutter their home. That's me. I have stuff that I need to get rid of, but we often fail to do so, right? So there's this gap between intention and action that's commonplace, right? And even when intentions are strong and there's some urgency or urgent action is required, like you might need to lose weight for a medical reason, right? Anybody ever heard of some people saying the physician told them, if you lose some weight, we may only have to do certain things for your knee replacement, that your weight could impact different procedures that you might have to have, right? Or you need to lose that weight, it's impacting your heart health, or, that's just an example, right? So it suggests that motivation alone is not sufficient. And you got to think about implementation intentions. It's what's called the if-then planning. Because you could have a goal and say, I'm going to find a job, right? And that's a simple goal intention, right? And you might have motivation around doing that. But if you have an if-then planning, on the other hand, then you seek to kind of connect to a specific future situation, that job, right? With specific goal-directed behaviors, okay? So when you do that, it brings a mental representation, and that starts the activation, right? It's going to lead you to a better perception of that goal and the steps that you need to take, more focus and attention on the steps you need to take and the behaviors you need to evidence, and the memory that you need to build to describe that future end. So what does the success look like? Where is that job at? Is it a cubicle? Is it an office? You're going to start to mentally envision. It's almost like a vision board, right? You're going to mentally envision that future state. Okay. And if you don't have any consciousness of visualization, it's going to be harder to make some of the steps that you need to do that are automatic steps automatic. Oh, Daryl shared. Happy New Year, brother. Sandra, Spencer, Corey King, click share, all of you that are watching on Facebook and YouTube events and LinkedIn. I'm trying to follow the comments. And as you know, that's how I moderate. I go back to the comments. But so I want you to get a mental image about that future goal. And then you can begin to put some of the steps on automatic. Now, this kind of habit building, I kind of mentioned in a book that I have that's coming out, my first book. I'm excited. It's The Gratefulness Journey Every Day. What are you doing the next 30 days to transform your life? So we talk a little bit about this habit, this intention in that. And so I wanted to mention it here because I think it is important to mention. So I'm going to just double check the comments before I go on. Good afternoon, Jonathan C. Williams. Thank you, sir. What a great soul he is. He sends great morning boost every day. Love it, love it. Keep it coming. Okay. I'm going to share my screen because I want you to see this. Okay. Okay, give it to me. All right. And I'm going to check the screen to make sure you can see the screen. Give it a second to populate. Okay. All right. And you should be able to see the screen. I hope that you can. So this is just a simple Word document because there's a whole module. There are modules for this training, and I'm trying to give you an overview, kind of a highlight to whet your appetite a little bit. So I was talking about implementation intentions. And so if then planning, I gave about 5 examples of what you could do. Some of these are related directly to your job search and some of these are not. So you have to have a plan, right? You might say during the next week, I will partake in at least 30 minutes of research on my industry profession of choice on, put the date in, the day of the week and the time and the place. So during the next week, I will partake in at least 30 minutes of research on my industry profession of choice on Wednesday at noon in my home office, right? Be intentional about what you're going to do, when you're going to do it, and where you are going to do it, okay? The second one I chose, if I receive a rejection at any step in the process. So you apply to a company and you get that automatic response after 3 days that says, thank you for applying. We're looking for something different than what you possess. We wish you well in your job search. Okay. If I receive anything, or you go on an interview and they say, hey, we're going in another direction. Or there's an online exam that say, you didn't pass the exam. Here are some resources for you to try it again. If you receive a rejection at any step in the process, which in HR, we call it the recruiting funnel, your then is, I will apply to, put a number in there. I will apply to 3 of the company's competitors to that company that rejected me. That would be very specific, right? So your intention is, I want that industry. I want to be in the automotive industry. So if Daimler Chrysler rejected me, or whatever, Fiat Chrysler, whatever they are called today, they rejected me, I'm going to apply to Ford and GM. I'm going to apply to their competitors and and I didn't put that in there, but I'm going to apply within a certain time frame. Put that time frame in there. Okay. So these are intentions. If I make a connection on LinkedIn with a hiring manager, right? And we talked about research in December, I will follow up within, put the time frame in there, 3 days. Okay. These are indirect, but these have an impact on your search. If I haven't slept well 2 nights running, then I will have a quiet evening and you're going to turn off your laptop by 8 and we'll go to bed early at 10 p.m. Okay. Another one, if I have to work late today and I don't have time to go to the gym, if the gym is open where you are, Lord help us, then I'll wake up 30 minutes earlier tomorrow and go for a run before breakfast, or do some video at home before breakfast. that will help your focus on your intentions when you have done self-care and the right amount of sleep and rest and eating, right? So those are indirect, okay? We talked about searching for the position for which you for which you hold at least 80% of the qualifications. We talked about that in December at, in depth. And then you're going to research those salary requirements. Certainly, if you only hold 80% of the qualifications, you're going to look to see how you can say 80% of that salary requirement. We talked about if you have 60% of the qualifications and you have all of the preferred, they have a line, I prefer a master's, I prefer 10 years progressive experience, I prefer this. If you have all of the preferreds, but you're missing some of the base qualifications, I'd still say apply, but understand that if they're interested, you have to do some research on the gap area and you have to be willing to maybe negotiate a lesser salary. Okay. Research the company's culture and core values. Okay. You can do that by going to the company's website, looking up their core values and competencies. You can also do what's called a mention analysis on your Google. You can do a search and see how many times that company is mentioned for that area, or you can go to Glassdoor and read some of the comments and see how many positive comments versus negative comments. Okay, so the mention analysis is a more formal thing that you can do, and professionals in certain industries do more formal analysis, but you can do a simple analysis by going to Indeed, going to any of the career builder type of sites, going to social media and searching, putting in the search engine the name of that company and see how many recent posts come up, see what people are saying about that organization. And is there a theme? Is everybody happy? Is everybody unhappy? Does everybody have freedom? Does everybody seem to be social? Start to synthesize it and see what the company culture is and compare it to what they say it is on the website. Those are things that you want to compare. Okay. Then values diagram and comparison. I won't go in depth into that, but I will touch on it in a minute because that's a part of the module. But basically, you have values, right? And this is looking at what your ideal values are and what your actual values are. For most people, your actual values can be found in where and how you spend your time. So part of that exercise requires you to draw a circle. You can even draw it now. I'll give you this much. I won't give you, again, that's part of the actual training. Draw a circle, envision a circle, and then just like it's a pie, it's a blank pie right now because you just have a circle, but draw slices according to where you spend your time. And in the training, we give you some different slices, some names for those slices, such as family and friends. How much time do you spend praying? How much time do you spend meditating, affirming? How much time do you spend gossiping? How much time do you spend complaining? How much time do you spend in sports? How much time do you spend in other physical activity? How much time do you spend in self-care? How much time do you spend in relationship, building, working on relationships, until you've gotten all of the slivers of the pie? You set that aside and draw another circle, and you draw the slices of what you really would want. Hey, I want to spend more time with my family. I want to spend 35% of my time with my family and friends, getting to know them, helping them accomplish their missions, helping them feel good, and deepening our connections. You might find that that's different than what you had in first. And then you'll be able to align these things with values, because what we say are our values aren't always what we're living out our values to be. So that's what that values diagram and comparison is. And then once you do the comparison, you then look at your ideal set of values with the values of the company as they have on their website. Do those align? Because you may want to go work for a company whose values don't really align with your ideal values, which is what you want to focus on, because you're going to move with intention from the values that you have in the time that you're spending to the values that you want in the time that you're going to repurpose. Okay. Then you're going to review your resume. Now, if you don't have any money, then that has to be a review that you do on your own, right? And we'll talk about how you might do that on your own in the module. But you can also get a professional person. Some people will charge $100, $200. Some will even charge you up to $500. I'm not saying put that kind of investment. Definitely not saying invest in it with $600 from a stimulus, maybe $2,000 if you get $2,000. But put a good investment in that resume, or get with an HR professional who will help you to, or hiring manager who will help you to modify, adjust some things, reformat, repurpose the information on your resume. Okay. Then we talked in our last session in December about increasing your net worth by improving your network, that your network helps you increase your net worth, right? We talked about how to leverage those first, second, and third connections on LinkedIn. Thank you, Rashida T. Yes, I'm here to help. I was talking to a colleague, Rashida, on LinkedIn who does resume writing for a living, and we're working on having him come do a free session. I said there are so many people that need it, a free or nominal fee session, but I certainly would help. Certainly would help. So we talked about leveraging your first, second, and third connections on LinkedIn and how you do that, how you don't reach out to the third connection and just be like, hey. You kind of have to name drop a little bit, or start commenting on their posts, liking their posts, not trolling their post, commenting on their articles and writings, or writing an article and asking them to comment on it, right? A little different than you would do with someone that you've actually met, right? And I know in this environment, a lot of people that I'm meeting, I haven't met face to face. A lot of them say, hey, let's jump on a Zoom just so we can meet, right? Those I consider first connections. Second connections I know of, right? I know somebody that knows you, right? I know something about you, some factoid about you, but I don't know you, right? A third connection you might know of, Gary Vaynerchuk, right? We might be following him, but we don't know him, right? And so I might comment on something that Gary Vaynerchuk says, or say, hey, I got an article similar to something that you were talking about. Would you care to have a read and give me a critique? So that you can build connection and leverage it. Now be strategic about it, because remember, if you're on a 30, 90, 60, 90-day plan, your goal is to get a position. So maybe if you're going into the tech space for a position, you might do that with Gary Vaynerchuk, right? Because he's connected to someone that is a hiring manager or decision maker, or who could tell somebody, hire this guy, right? But if it's not that industry, you want to start to target the industry that you're interested in. And so when people say I'm looking for a job, I always ask them, what's the position look like? What does that position look like to you? Where is that position? What company? And they say, oh no, just any job in human resources. I said, no, sir, no, ma'am. I want you to go for what you are passionate about. What is meaningful, impactful work to you look like? And that's the industry, that's the organization, that's the work that you set before yourself when you're implementing intentions to go after 30, 60, 90 days. So stop saying, I just want any job, I just need to work. Yes, we all do need a job and we need to work at this point. May the Lord be the door that opens, that we don't have to have that as our only option, right? But what do you want to do? So you want to do human resources, you want to be in learning development, you want to be in talent management, talent acquisition, labor relations, you want to be in employee services, employee engagement, the employee experience, you want to be in policy and planning. What do you want to do? You want to be in talent analytics. There are a lot of opportunities, right? And just the same with any other field. So become more specific. What do you envision yourself? Start casting those intentions. I closed my eyes because I wanted you to. What do you envision yourself doing? Okay, that's what you want to start leveraging first, second, and third connections toward getting that interview. Okay, check your profiles on social media. What does the picture look like? You know, what do the pictures look like? You doing the bus it challenge? Maybe not when you're looking for the job. Maybe not. Maybe not. You know, all of these different things, the WAP, Maybe not. I'm not telling you can't, but just maybe not. Okay. You're going to choose a good profile picture, especially on LinkedIn. But the reality is, people don't just look at your LinkedIn profile, good, bad, or not. I have some interesting thoughts on that. I think they're interesting. But potential hiring managers, potential employers don't just look at your LinkedIn. So just keep that in mind, right? Edit and update those profiles. If you have a profile that says you live in Georgia and you moved twice since then, don't say Georgia. Don't let that be your current place, right? Though a lot of companies are saying, hey, it's a global world. You can live anywhere and work, right? But make sure that those facts are the most contemporaneous, is my point. Share articles that you have authored, that you have written, or start writing them. You can write small articles. Something catches your attention, write about it. Get the little Grammarly app, check your grammar and your punctuation and tenses and things of that nature, and then send it to a group of friends and say, I want you to just read this. What you think? I read this. Maybe you should read this and then read this. Tell me what you think. And start a dialogue around it. And if those people say, oh, this is pretty good, send it to someone outside of your group of friends. Get their input. And then once you get their input, send it to that person that you want to connect with and say, hey, I read your article on this, or I read an article on this, and I know you are a guru in the space, and I just wrote this little article. Hey, would you mind reading it and just giving me some feedback? The fact that you called them a guru has added value to them. And we talked about that in December. Don't just connect to people so that they can give you value, give value to them. And so you say, hey, compliments are always value for a lot of people. Hey, I see that you're a guru in the space. I see that you're well regarded in the space. I see that you are a leader in your industry. I see that you're a thought leader on the subject. And it got me reading. And so now I wrote this article, and I just wrote it just to, write down my thoughts. What do you think of this? And then post it on your space. When they respond back, say, hey, is it okay if I share this with others? And post and say, I wrote this article and this thought leader responded, and here was his feedback. What do you think? And start to build that audience of you're engaged in an industry and people want to see what you're talking about. Okay. That helps when people are searching for jobs. They see how you think. They want to really do their work and seeing how you think. And because there's so much information out there, you have some power in the information that you put out there about yourself. You don't have the power of the information that other people put out there about you, but you do have the power of the information that you put out there about yourself. So you can start by writing small articles, and it doesn't have to be necessarily on neuroscience. It doesn't have to be on COVID-19, which vaccine is the best. Could be on that, but it could be on something that you're passionate about, and you write it and connect it with someone who's passionate about the same thing. First, your friends, because hopefully you have friends that tell you the truth. Then the people outside of your friends who maybe are smarter, wealthier, more educated than your friends. No, just to your friends, but find somebody outside that network who's a little step up to that friendship level, right? Then go to that thought leader. So have two rungs where you're testing out your material, and then go to somebody else. Okay. Then we talked about, which is a large part of the module, crafting responses to behavioral, I think that's spelled incorrectly, based interview questions. It is. And we talked about that. The whole module in this 30, 60, 90 day is about, it's about storytelling. It's about crafting great stories from your actual experience now, because when I was growing up, stories meant lies. Ooh, you telling a story? Anybody remember that? But these are real stories, right? So when you get in an interview situation, a structured interview will likely have behavioral-based questions. They're asking you questions that are related to a specific competency that they want to see if you possess. Okay. And they're grading on a scale to see how much of that competency you possess, right? And typically they're going to ask you to respond in a certain way using a STAR method, a situation, task, action, and results, or CAR method, context, action, results. And it's really telling the story of who was involved, what happened, what was the context or situation, what were you asked to do, what actions did you actually take, and what were the results, right? You should begin crafting responses to those questions now. If you've applied to any jobs, you should have a bank or inventory of behavioral based answers for those questions. And so in the module, we give you an entire sheet of questions for you to choose from that range from change management, leadership, decision making, all different types of competencies that are typically considered core competencies for many organizations across industries. Okay. Yes, Rashida, a lot of people do. I was even talking to an HR professional who said, "Hey, I need to go back and work on my STAR method, my CAR method, because we are all good at storytelling, and many cultures have embedded in them an aspect of storytelling. It's the oral tradition of how we learned various things in our history and our families, right? And so we know how to tell good stories. And so now you got to find what connects to you in that story so that you deliver an excellent story. And that's what that module talks about. It talks about using some psychology in a simple way to pull from your strengths in a job context. So you get to pull out of the strengths of the job context from affiliation. I won't go into them. That's in the module. You're gonna have to get into the module. But there are three aspects of your competency characteristics that are specifically relevant to jobs. And so we're using that as our springboard to build and craft responses, because those responses then will ring truer to who you are. It will ring truer to who you are if you like connections to people. So if being connected to a group or to a team is important to you, you should respond in a way that highlights that, because you will feel comfortable and confident in your response, and it will ring as authentic. And what people want to learn in the interview is both, are you qualified for this position? But they also want to know, who are you? And so you get a chance to ring true and authenticity when you connect with your strengths and competency. And so that's how we help you to craft those responses based on who you are, and not just bringing up a story. You're going to think of the context you're in the interview setting. What kind of company is this, right? What kind of organization is this? What's the culture like? And then who am I, and how do I connect my experience to that culture in this answer? And that's what we do in that module. Okay. After you've crafted responses, I see Rashida T is just cracking up. I love it. Pam Caldwell has joined us, and thank you all of those. I'm going to check the comments as soon as I finish this document. We are talking about 30, 60, 90-day road to your job. We know the president and vice president have new jobs. Hey, do you want one? Then you need to get an intentional plan to get there. And that's what we're talking about here today. Click share and share this information. After you've crafted those behavioral based responses to interview questions, prepare your interview outfit. I shared this funny last night with a group. I was on a Zoom, and I think because the Zoom was so comfortable and informal, one of the participants in the Zoom got up and went to go refresh his coffee, I believe. He got up and he had on flannel pajama bottoms. So for those that know me, I'm pretty expressive. My face is pretty expressive. I've worked diligently on both a poker face. I don't know if it's always successful, but being very expressive too. I did my best poker face. I did this. That was the best poker face that I could summons. And Some people chuckled and some people kind of pointed. One person turned the camera off and muted. I'm sure they were just laughing. And he returned, sat back down, and said, "Y'all didn't see that, did y'all?" I must admit, I did that face. Yeah, my eyebrows will go. And so I did that face. Sir, do you really think we didn't? I was just thankful that, he wasn't in boxers or something else, but prepare your interview outfit and wear the entire outfit. Some people will say, just get a top going, a blouse, ladies, a jacket, a suit, shirt and tie, fellas. Get your get your whole life, as Tamara Braxton would say. Get your entire outfit. Entire outfit. And wear it if you're doing a Zoom presentation. Now, I've seen many different things say, make sure the lighting is right. You do want the lighting to be right. You want your interconnection to be right. You want all of that to be right. But a hiring manager knows that you have pivoted in the pandemic and you might not have all of the tools or resources at home or on your phone to give the lighting and background that you need to do. I would say if you have a computer or laptop, do it from there, but you might have to do it from your phone if that's what you have available. And a good hiring manager is not going to be distracted from that. He or she, by that HR professional, is going to be calibrated that they don't give rise to the biases that they have around distractions. And they're going to stay, tuned in. It's hard to stay tuned in, of course, in the instance I just gave you, seeing the flannel pajamas. We all had a laugh afterward, but it took a 2 minutes, I think, for everybody to really come back into what we were doing. And that can happen. But put your best outfit forward. I was sharing with someone on LinkedIn. Everyone is making a new buzzword of the day. It's not new, but people are making it a new buzzword or acronym or set of words. People are saying diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging. I say diversity, equity, access, inclusion, and belonging. You're going to hear that. But not every company is there. And don't fool yourself. Every company is not there. So if you have a very cultural look, you have locks, you have dreads, you have pink hair, a nose ring, a lip ring, a tongue ring. Be mindful of those and ask yourself, can I present this so that it's not a distraction? Because you want to be your authentic self, but you don't want to be a distraction. You don't want to present anything that's a distraction. I'm in no wise saying cut your locks off, cut your dreads, but they can be well kept. Right? You can get some jojoba oil or whatever oil you use and rub through them and shape them, right? You can hit those edges, right? Right? Whatever it is your right to be your authentic self. But know that everybody is not devoid of their conscious and unconscious biases. So you present it in the best way. Even in the colors that you wear, if yellow is your favorite color, ask yourself, does it present me as the most professional in what I'm attempting to do? If it doesn't, you might choose a softer yellow. Maybe instead of a yellow blouse, you'll do just a yellow pendant, a yellow scarf. But you bring your authentic self forward in the best possible light. So choose your colors wisely. No, I don't say black, brown, blue, gray. There was a time that men wore those 4-color suits to an interview to tone it down. I'm not saying be someone that you're not, because that will come across as inauthentic. You'll look uncomfortable in somebody else's clothes. Wear what you're comfortable with, and what presents you as your best self is what you want to make your interviewing complete outfit. Okay? So all of that is in this 30, 60, 90 day. I'm awaiting one of our partners because I want you to have a journal that you can write in 30, 60, 90 days. So it'll be a 90-page journal, and you can write in the first 30 days, second 30 days, third 30 days, any items as you go along your agenda and list that you want to capture on your journey. And if you get to your offer at the end of 90 days, I want you to share that journal with someone else. Okay. They will have to modify it to work specifically for them, right? Because everybody's journey is going to be different. But the fact that you set an intention and said, in 90 days, I want to be employed in the automotive industry in human resources. And here are the behaviors that I'm going to do over the next 90 days to get me there is implementation planning. It's if then planning, it's implementation intentions. Instead of the goal, I need a job, I'm going to get a job. And I'm not saying you won't get a job because you say I'm going to get a job, but you want to cast your intentions a little bit more specifically about what's the kind of job you want, where it's going to be, when you're going to get it, and how you're going to go about a process to getting it. And that's what the implementations agenda is and strategy. Thank you, Rashida. I'm trying. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I'm going to stop sharing this, and I'm going to share just a little bit because I said I would I'll go to just checking across all platforms, just making sure. Yes. Rashida, you're going to help me by clicking share and tagging some folks to, because I want people to achieve what they want to achieve. Okay, so I'm going to go to a part of this. Let's see, can I do this? Okay, I'm going to share just a part of this, which I said in the beginning I was, then I changed my mind. I wasn't. I'm going to share just a part of it. All right. And we're at 12:43, so it got a little, okay. I think this is it. Let's see. The information is helpful to you. I hope that you will share it with someone. Click share and tag someone. Okay. So here is a part of an exercise that you will do, but I'm going to let you do a part of the exercise right here. And I think it's showing, yep, you can see the screen. Great. And I'm giving you a part of the exercise. Okay. This is the current life part of the exercise I mentioned earlier. So you're going to draw a circle. I don't know if you have a pen. You could do it right now if you want to, or you can come back to this and watch it again, or you could just wait for the module and do the entire thing. You're going to divide the circle into slices, right? Just like you would that sweet potato pie that I need in my life today. I don't eat pumpkin pie. I have on occasion eaten apple pie. I made buttermilk pie for Thanksgiving. I was told it was delicious. I didn't even have a slice. Oh, yes, I did. I had a sliver. It was pretty good. I did. So imagine your favorite pie here, and you're going to divide it into slices, each representing the amount of time you spend on different elements or areas of your life. Okay, so it might not be perfect unless you have a tool where you can measure, I didn't get all of that fancy, but maybe for the module we can. But if you put a 17% slice, you kind of have to imagine what 17% is unless you have a tool that does that, right? The larger the slice, the more time you spend on or in that area, okay? So some typical areas that are suggested: immediate family, community, neighborhood, if you see those as different, extended family, which I think is important because I see your extended family more as the family you choose, okay? Spirituality, so it could be church, could be meditation, could be reading the word, the Quran, whatever you do as a spiritual activity or exercise expressing your faith. Work, and it could be work and or side hustle work, right? Fun and recreation, you can put those together or separately. Creativity, do you draw? Do you write? Do you sing? Personal development. Do you read self-help books? Do you do exercise? You might consider that, that's later, health and exercise. You might attend training. Goals and values. So do you spend any time working on any of your goals and values? Romance and love. You might put those together as separate because you might have people that you love, friends that are different than family or extended family. And romance, of course, might be something different. Do you volunteer? You might see that as separate from community or neighborhood. Money. Where do you spend your money? How much time do you spend counting it? How much time do you spend lamenting over not having it? How much time do you spend mismanaging it? How much do you spend? Health and exercise, and you can add anything or remove anything from the list. So you might have small slivers all around that circle, okay? This is the first part of the exercise that you will do, because where you spend your time and where you spend your money and your energy is what you value. Almost without exception. You're not going to spend a lot of time in something. There are times where you'll be required to, right? But for the most part, we live our lives spending the time in the areas of things that matter to us. And you can see where most of your time, if you look at your last week, the last 7 days, where did you spend your time and with whom? And is that an anomaly for this week because there was a catastrophic situation in your family, or is this a normal week? Okay. If it's a normal week and you spent 70% of your time with your spouse and you weren't required to, right? Your spouse will say, you better not leave this house because we're in the pandemic. You spend 70% of your time, you might highly value romance and love or relationship. Now, you might spend 70% of that time fighting with them, right? Okay. So you got to kind of look at it and drill down and say, where I spend my time is what, and where I spend my energy and my money is what I value. And that is your current value proposition. It's important to do that before you evaluate somebody else's value proposition or even your ideal value proposition. The somebody else in this context is another employer. So if you don't know succinctly what is important to you as an individual and what you value, there is no sense going to check out a website to look at the company's core values. First, know what you value. What is important? Who is important? What is meaningful impact to you? Okay. And then see if you are surprised and say, wow, I didn't really know that I'm putting so much energy into these relationships that aren't yielding me anything. I'm putting a lot of time into this new relationship and all we do is fuss and fight and bicker. I spent money and flowers and dinners and sent door dashes, and I don't feel like I'm getting that reciprocated. I don't have much to show for it. Or, wow, I'm spending way more than 3 hours a day watching TV, but I say that I value quiet time and reading. Those don't align. So maybe I got to do some realignment. I need to pick up a book again. Right? And so if you align with the organization that says we're a learning culture, but you're not a person that likes to read or learn, you got to ask yourself, now that I know who I am currently and what I value, and is it close to what my ideal value set is, does that align with the companies that I'm researching? Because there's a company out there for you, and it aligns with your ideal values, which is a roadmap for you to go from your current values. Your current values are great. They are who you are. But not everything that you're experiencing in them might be great. So you might have to shift and adjust those things, right? You might have some, it's not bad that you value relationships, but you might have to shift and adjust the relationships that you value, right? So if you're in a relationship where you aren't deriving a lot of value from, You might not say, well, I'm not going to be in relationships. No, you might need to not be as invested in that relationship. But if you're relationship oriented, you might want to join an organization that is community oriented. A lot of people say it's a family. Well, I don't know if it's a family because you really don't fire your family members, right? But you might be in a community. Well, some people do, film at 11. But you might be in a community where everybody values the well-being of other people through civility and humanness, right? Then you might want to join that company. Whereas if you're not relationship based, you might not want to join a company where they have a lot of social awareness and do a lot of social stuff. That might not align with your core values. But you got to first know what those are before you go searching out, well, let me see what this company is about. Well, what are you about? What are you about? What are your values? What's important to you? And that's a very important part while you're searching industries, which you do early in the search, and you're searching companies because company names will be attractive to you. As you deepen into that search, you want to make sure you're aligned to what you're learning about that company. Okay, really important. Ramona Roseberry joined us. Eunice Hunter, my cousin. Tell my cousin, I'm going to tell him happy birthday. All right. And so we're at 12:52. This is our foray into this 30, 60, 90 day 30, 60, 90 day journey for those of you who, like the president and vice president, want a new job, right? They wanted this job. They campaigned for it, right? You are campaigning for a job, okay? And you're going to campaign strategically, intentionally, 30, 60, 90 days. We're going to talk about your brand presence in this module. We're going to talk about your crafting responses, about what you're wearing to the interview, about your confidence level, about interviewing, about your research of the companies that you are selecting, because you want to take your brand. You have a brand, you have a reputation, and you want to work on your brand and reputation and align it with a company who you feel has a similar brand and reputation, right? So you don't want them to just bring value and a paycheck to you. You want to bring value and a return on their investment to them, right? And so you want to carry forth the best, authentic look of your brand to that new organization in 30, 60, 90 days, okay? And that part bears repeating. Where we started at the beginning is where I will end with. So we started at the beginning talking about Joseph Robinette Biden Jr., our president, and Kamala Harris, former senator to California, our vice president, the first female, first African-American and Asian-American woman to hold the second highest office in the land. And Aria helped us to articulate that it will restore class and dignity and respect to that office and to our nation as a global citizen and a leader among global citizens, right? But they started out saying, I want that job. Now, we know that President Biden did that in 2008, saying he wanted that job. So that's a good thing to those of you who've been looking for a job a long time and been turned down. He was turned down in 2008 for this job, but he kept going. And he kept going through life's difficulties. He didn't let those ultimately deter him from January 20th when he said, I will, so help me God, right? But he auditioned for this job. He wanted this job. He campaigned for it. Are you ready to campaign in 30, 60, 90 days for your job? You need to implement intentions and say more than I want a job. Start to envision what that job looks like. What are you doing on that job every day? What does that look like? Envision it now. Close your eyes and say, I want to be the head of nursing at a hospital that cares about its patients. I want to be a human resources professional who's tasked with improving the employee experience for a company that's a great place to work. I want to be the supervisor of quality for a big three plant to ensure that we're sending out quality parts for vehicles that our consumers will drive. Start to cast forth your intention specifically about the job that you see yourself doing and wanting. Before you search for it, start to envision it. And then say, now, what are the goal-directed behaviors that I need to start doing to get me there in 30 days, 60 days, 90 days? And we shared some at the beginning, so if you didn't see it, you should watch from the top. And start to pursue those things. And the more that you do them consistently, the automaticity comes. There are tasks that your brain will capture in memory to automatically do when it is prompted. It's the if-then planning. There are things you do today automatically. You awaken. Some people awaken and they get a drink of water. That's a habit that started at some point. Some people awaken and they start to pray. Some people awaken and they roll over and check their phone for notifications. All of those are habits that are on automatic. And they had to start the first time for them to become automatic over time. So if you're on a 30-day journey, you got to start to do some things every day. 60-day the same, 90-day the same, so that some of those things become a part of the habit of finding the job opportunity that you want. You're building in yourself a habit, and you're building in yourself some confidence so that when you hear no, which we talked about earlier, when you get a rejection at any point in that recruiting funnel, any point in that process, that you set a trigger for yourself. If I get a rejection email that says we're no longer considering you for the spot, that should trigger you to apply to 3 more places, including 2 of their competitors. And if you take no in that way, after 4 or 5 no's, you will have applied to so many other places. And you'll begin to understand that a no just means not that door at this time. But there are other doors and other paths to achieve what you've envisioned. So very soon we'll roll out the modules so that you can participate in those modules. At the end of completing those modules, those of you that complete all of the modules, and there currently I think are 4, you complete all 4 of those modules, and then we're going to have you live on LinkedIn if you are willing. So if you work somewhere else, you probably don't want to do that. Your other employer might not understand that you're looking for a job. We would not divulge your confidence there. But we're going to go live and we're going to have you interview with hiring managers and HR professionals to give you feedback on the responses that you've crafted, on how you present your brand, how you dressed, how you interview on Zoom, so that you can take that in and move forward to that job, that career, that opportunity that you're envisioning. You, my friend, are no different than the Joseph Biden, Robinette Jr. and Kamala Harris of this world, in that you're campaigning for a job and you feel qualified based on your set of experiences for a job. And you're on the road to getting it. I'm Marcus Holmes, the HR Passion Guy. Follow me on LinkedIn. Follow me on Facebook at Marcus R. Holmes or at Love and Stuff. On YouTube events as HR Passion Guy, and on Twitch TV also as HR Passion Guy. And any of those platforms that you inbox me your questions, I'm going to answer those questions or connect you with someone who can help you along this journey. You deserve to have the job that you're auditioning for. Let's get there and have a great year. Enjoy and share if you like Passion Fridays. Click share and tag someone. It might be useful and helpful information for them, and just pass it along. Have a grateful weekend.